He ain't started it yet.
You told me to. We're good. Okay.
Now we go.
All right. No changes or additions to the agenda. Do I need to start over? We're good.
Now we go.
Any announcements or disclosures for board members? Oh, okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the March 10th meeting?
Motion to approve. Second.
Please take the roll.
Board Member Carroll.
Yes.
Board Member Stamps.
Yes.
Board Member Barker.
Yes.
Board Member Rich.
Yes.
Chairman Newbauer.
Yes. I'm now going to read the procedure for quasi-judicial proceedings. Step 1, the public hearing is announced. Introduction of application by staff. Step 2, ex parte communication disclosure by board members. Step 3, identification of the applicant and affected parties that intend to participate in the hearing. Affected parties that only intend to make a statement may do so at the public participation part of the agenda. An affected party means any person or entity that will suffer an adverse effect to an interest protected or furthered by the ULDC, including interests related to health and safety, police and fire protection, service systems, densities and intensities of development, transportation facilities, healthcare facilities, equipment or services, and environmental or natural resources. The alleged adverse interest may be shared in common with other members of the community at large, but must exceed and decree the general interest of the community good shared by all persons. Now turn to counsel for swearing witnesses.
We have one item on the agenda this afternoon that is a quasi-judicial item, and that is the first one, which is the East Beach Drive variance. So if you're here for that and you intend to speak, if you'll stand now, raise your right hand, and I will swear you in. So do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you'll give in these matters to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Very much. That when you come to the podium, if you'll just state your name for the record and that you have been sworn.
All right, start with request A.
It's,
Oh, this one makes sense.
you're good.
Okay, sorry. All right, item A, case number CPC-PLN-2025-0335. It's a variance on February 19th of 2025. Applicant requested a variance to construct accessory structures in the form of aluminum carports in the front of Cove Harbor condominiums over existing paved parking footprint destroyed by Hurricane Michael rather than in the rear as typically required. The owner is Cove Harbor Phase 1. The applicant's name was Brandon Aluminum Incorporated. The address was 310 East Beach Drive.
Any questions for board members for staff?
Yes, the structure that is proposed, is that in a different location than what it was before the hurricane, or is it in the same location?
Same
Was it-
location.
Same, okay.
What's the height of the carports? Do you know?
It was.
Approximately, you're going to have 1 second to get up to speed.
Let me grab it for you 1 second.
Yeah, he can go ahead and come up. Mr. Brandon.
It's James Brandon, the contractor.
It does say eight and a half, roughly 8.5 feet, or in height.
We have some elevation issues on part of it where the driveway actually slopes down quite a bit, so it could be more toward the 9-foot area.
Essentially, it's just replacing what was there prior to
We're
the-
replacing exactly the same footprint and everything, yeah.
Mr. Brandon, you were sworn in a moment ago. correct?
Yes.
And the intention is just automobiles, not trailers or RVs
Automobiles.
or anything like that.
Is that right?
Cars and trucks.
Cars and trucks, okay.
Additional questions? All right, thank you, sir. Does anyone else from the audience wish to speak on this item?
Is this the variance?
Yes.
Yes.
You gotta take my address?
Yes, sir. Were you sworn in a moment ago?
No.
Walk in. Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you'll give in this matter to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Your name and address.
Carl Adams, 406 East Beach Drive, Panama City, 01. I live next door to that property. And just for whatever it's worth, when the hurricane came in, the early winds, I was there the whole time, the early winds were 40 or 50, that thing came right off. It did about 40% of the damage to my entire complex. Scarring the building from the aluminum, scratching the stucco, totaled my truck. Just scratches my truck. The water helped too, but I mean, I had scratches and dents all over it from that white sink, because I believe I read it's going to be the same exact thing that they had before. So I got just a couple questions for you guys. I'm an engineer, and I hope that you have some rules, because personally, I don't think this stuff should be allowed anywhere where hurricanes are, because they're just trash. Any wind's going to take them off. So my concern is how they're getting secured to the asphalt, and they just redid their asphalt. So I'm not so sure about footers and all that stuff. I guess they're just going to have to dig up the asphalt that they just had. So securing them, the roofs, I don't know if there's code to that, but I just want to bring it to you, whoever's approving this, as attention to please keep that in mind, because it's a wide open area between Cove Harbor and Grand Bay where I live. And that stuff just, I mean, I would say maybe those winds were 40 miles an hour and that stuff was flying across. It was coming across before the trees started falling down when Michael came through. So that's it. I don't know if there's, I don't know what the code is for this kind of stuff, but I don't think it should be allowed.
All right, thank
Yeah.
you. Is anyone else? Oh, wait,
Is there anybody else that wants to speak before you come back?
did you answer all the questions at once?
Yep. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Brown.
I think he got a question.
Wait, I was going to wait for Mr. Brand to come back. It was for him. So regarding the hurricane readiness of that structure, can you speak to that?
Everything has to be built within the 140 mile per hour wind obligation here in the county. This is going to be built a little bit different than the other ones. In regards to the footer detail, we're putting twice as much concrete per footer. It's basically a 40-inch by 40-inch block of concrete. The aluminum alloy is stronger. It's bigger material. I don't know how old the old structure was, but like anything, if it was 10, 12 years old, it may have been inferior to what the standards are today. I'll be happy to give you a copy of the engineering, sir, if you'd like to look at that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would like to see that.
Sure.
Question for Michael. This structure would be allowed if it was in the rear of the building per code. We're just approving that it's on the front side of the building.
That's correct. Our land development code says that accessory structures like carports have to be in the side or rear yard. In this case, putting it in the side or rear yard would
In the water.
make it a waterfront carport. But the applicant is still going to have to meet Florida Building Code, which he mentioned with the 140 wind load. So.
Right.
Yeah, this is site-specific engineering for this specific site. It's just not blanket engineering for any project. So I'll be happy to give you a copy of this if you'd like.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Do I got to follow? 20 seconds.
Sure.
The only reason I even came is because I read somewhere, it was either on the sign on the road, that it was exactly the same. And I told-
Exactly the same footprint.
Okay, that's fine. And then today, when I called, I got plans sent over to me on email from the lady at the planning board. It didn't talk about footers and hurricane rated, and I would challenge any aluminum carport being rated at 140. Any of them. They don't exist.
So
Okay. All right. Sorry.
Thank you.
the item under consideration today is placement of the, well, he's gone, so.
Yeah. Understood.
Is placement of the structure in the front versus the side rear yard, so.
Thank you. Do I have a motion on this item?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Please take roll.
Board Member Carroll.
Yes.
Board Member Stamps.
Yes.
Board Member Barker.
Yes.
Board Member Rich.
Yes.
Chairman Dubauer.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Item number B.
Item B is case number CPC PLN 2025-0325. The request is for major development. The applicant is requesting to develop a hotel over 3 stories in height. The owner is RM Partners LLC, and the applicant is Panhandle Engineering, and is located at 2627 Highway 77.
I'm sorry, this is a quasi judicial, so Jim, swear to tell the truth.
Told me it wasn't.
I didn't, I feel. Thank you very much.
I don't know about that.
Any questions from staff? For staff? Okay. Mr. Salino?
Good afternoon. Jim Slonino, representing the applicant. 600 Ohio Avenue, Lynn Haven. All buildings greater than 3 stories in the city require a compatibility evaluation by the board. Not to tell you what your job is, but that's why I'm here. We're looking at a 4-story with a potential of going to 5-story, but right now the plans are all for 4-story. We are located across from Kohl's on 77. To give you a point of reference. And I think staff has concurred that we seem to be compatible with the adjacent uses and not incompatible. So I'm just looking for compatibility verification.
Any questions?
The question for staff is I see there's a recommendation with additional conditions.
Yeah, they're required to get a commercial development order as well, so we'll do the compatibility analysis through that review.
And that's standard.
Yeah. I was just making sure there weren't any other conditions.
Thank you, sir.
And we did upload our development order application.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on this item? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Please take roll.
Board Member Carroll.
Yes.
Board Member Stamps.
Yes.
Board Member Barker.
Yes.
Board Member Rich.
Yes.
Chairman Newbauer.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Jim, thanks for having your guy sit on my side. I appreciate it.
Item letter C.
Really an engineer.
Item C is case number 0376. They're requesting a small-scale land use amendment and rezoning. The applicant is requesting a small-scale land use amendment and rezoning to general commercial 2. The owner and applicant is Benjamin Gireknis, and the subject property is located at Parker Drive. It's approximately 0.555 acres.
Do you know what the intent of going from residential to commercial is?
No, I spoke with him a little bit, and he spoke about across the street, across West 13th Street, and that being general commercial too, but I didn't get exactly what he was proposing.
The recommendation from is to deny just based on the uses around.
Correct.
So the property at 709 is commercial, and then the ones across the street are commercial. What was the thought behind the recommendation to deny that way?
Just being surrounded by the R1 and it being in a residential neighborhood.
Okay. There was a notation about the water standards. I think it was for fire. Can you speak to that a little bit? The fire flow?
I'll try to. So, and this is really something that comes up during development order review. But our utilities has our department or utilities engineer has gone ahead and advised us that fire flow could be an issue for a commercial development on this property in the event that they want to develop it later on. It could be overcome, but it would require upgrades to the utility system in this area of the city.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? Is the applicant here? Wish to speak on this? Please come.
Yeah. So I think you guys pretty much covered it, but I just purchased this property. It's surrounded by mixed use and Benjamin Jerichina. Sorry, I did not swear in. I don't know if
This one doesn't require that. Go
okay. Yeah, it's surrounded by general commercial and mixed use. I know it is touching some residential. I plan on putting, if it gets rezoned to a boat trailer, RV storage, outdoor storage. Water would be limited on it, on a business like that. And that's I guess pretty much it. I'd have somebody come in and redesign or build out the lot to make it look very nice and whatnot. But I did not know about the fire flow. I'm not even familiar what that is.
But and again, that's usually something addressed at the development order stage when engineered plans are done or provided. So we see exactly what's being proposed and what the demand
and what's needed.
is.
Okay, understood. It's my first one here.
And from a GC2 standpoint, I guess is that the
Least intense
right?
development.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. As we look at, I see, MU3, and I know there's some elements of commercial that go within mixed use, but the intensity of GC2 is that the right mix, or is there?
GC2 is the most intense of the commercial uses that the city has.
And is GC allow boat and RV storage? GC1, or does any other? Because that seems like that could be a. This has come up before.
That was my understanding.
So I think the mixed-use districts allow neighborhood-scale commercial uses. Which, do you have that up by chance? Neighborhood-scale commercial uses are things like professional offices, private childcare or daycares, commercial recreational facilities, grocery convenience stores, athletic clubs, food establishments without a drive-through, and other similar uses serving the neighborhood. That's kind of vague, that last one. But typically, what did you say, outdoor storage? Is that?
Yeah, like boat trailer,
Yeah.
RV storage.
So typically, when someone is proposing to do outdoor storage, the only zoning district it really fits in is GC2.
Seems like a very low impact business for GC2.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the risk that we have to weigh is it will forever be GC2.
Yeah.
And while
Oh,
your
understood.
intent may be
Right.
low impact, if for whatever reason you decide to sell that property, then somebody can come in and do
Yeah.
Yeah.
industrial
Exactly.
manufacturing there.
Understood.
And that's just kind of the, weight of which side is the right.
What he's saying is we don't have control once we give you this GC.
Yeah.
And so that can be anything. And all these people are residential. To me, to be ignoring them is saying we're going to give you G from a residential 1 to a G2.
Yeah.
That's a big leap.
It is.
That's a big leap. And these people that have houses right there, especially right into their backyard, that could be annoying to them, is what I'm saying. You know?
Yep. Understood. I don't see any of them here.
Well, they might not be up here, but they still
Yeah.
are citizens.
Yeah, of course.
For what it's worth, Parker Drive does not continue on to 13th Street where it shows in that overhead view. That's actually just a
It does not.
drainage ditch that's there next to the property. The house that's the 1210 Parker is the last where the street dead ends right there.
Right.
So
It is a technicality, but if I applied for an address, I assume it'd be 13th Street, and nothing on 13th is residential.
But 1213 is residential.
What's that?
1213 is residential.
1213. Is that the one? I'm sorry, I can't see it.
Is it-
I thought that was Florida.
Maybe Florida.
Might be
Well,
Florida.
your property connects to all residential.
Yeah.
So, it's not a matter of whether
The
you're
address.
facing residential, it's a matter of your property has all residential housing. And when you look at the the zoning map.
Yeah, it touches.
There's houses there. It's
Well, I
not-
think that's where Mr. Russ is coming from with his deny recommendation is it's touching
Everything.
all the residential on that side.
Yeah.
So,
But if I apply for an address, it would be a 13th Street address. With the only road, touching it would be 13th. Yeah. Instead of Parker, like it is now, the road, doesn't continue through it. Okay, I think that's,
There's no other options to allow that type of use other than.
Are you pretty dead set on doing the boat storage and,
that's what I would do.
because we
Yeah.
can talk through any other ideas also, if that one doesn't pan out.
Yeah, for storage, we've always required it be in GC2.
Yeah.
How does setbacks work with outdoor storage? I mean, I know when you have commercial next to residential, you have additional setbacks. Probably not going to be a building right up against those residentials, but how does that setback apply to parked vehicles?
So the land development code requires additional buffering and setbacks for when you have dissimilar uses. So
It would
you
have to
it
be
up.
screened
I-
as well.
I want to say it's like
Public rights away.
I want to say it's like 10 feet from.
Yes.
The landscape buffer is 10 feet, but the setback from the rear, it goes from 20 to 25.
So-
That would be apply to
The parking, right? Yeah, that's what I was. I didn't know if there was if you were going to use parking, if part of that setback would be prevention of parking vehicles next, directly on
Yeah.
the line.
10-foot landscape buffer.
Yeah.
Would that be the fence line? Excuse me, I'm sorry. Or would that be fence up against property or 20 foot from that?
The fence
from
could
that
be on the
fence.
property line.
The fence could be on the property line, and that would be required too, is to have some sort of
Visibility.
screen, yeah, but in addition to that, you have the 10-foot. There is a
Yeah, landscape buffer.
rear setback requirement in GC2, but that's for buildings or
Right.
structures. So, but yeah, 10 feet landscape buffer and a fence or some sort of solid wall.
Did we get any feedback from any of the neighbors and email or any other correspondence?
I don't believe it.
Have you talked with any of the neighbors by chance or knocked on their door?
I have not. Yeah, I haven't gotten that far, but I certainly could.
The letters went out.
Yes.
All the individuals, correct, yeah.
And signage.
There's a sign put on the
Yeah.
property.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else to speak on this item? Doesn't look like it, so. All right, do I have a motion?
I'll motion like doing that with Joe. On the second night, I didn't.
A motion?
I will second in the sense of I'd prefer to have the project further along than just be an idea. So I second the denial.
All right. Any further discussion? Please take roll.
Board Member Carroll.
Yes.
Board Member Stamps.
Yes.
Board Member Barker.
Yes.
Board Member Rich.
Yes.
Chairman Newbauer.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Sir, my recommendation would be if it's something you really would like to do, you'd have to do some of the prep work beforehand to, prepare plans and maybe get some of the neighborhood feedback. It's just, it's difficult from our side to approve that intensity in what is currently residential.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's opposed to your project.
Yeah.
It's just the
I didn't
fact
think
of.
I didn't think it would be wise to go ahead and continue on with something that would require, or I wouldn't have the zoning for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you understand this is just a recommendation. It will be heard by the city commission at the, which meeting? May 13th meeting. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now have the audience participation. Anyone wish to participate?
Chris, your son want to say anything?
Hey, Walker, would you like to say anything to the planning board?
Before,
What do you want for Christmas?
I wanted to
Oh.
introduce y'all to Nick Kane. He's joining us from. He started with the city a while back, but he was in our building services division. But he's come aboard now in the planning division, and I think first, you've attended a meeting before. This is the first one you've participated in. Yeah. And also let y'all know that Jawan Haley's going to be out for a little bit of time, so we may have a couple of meetings without her. So,
Okay.
just FYI. Very good.
I thought he was from out of town since he's wearing a tie.
Thank you, guys.